What's up everybody, Subaru fan here for another weekly update. So lots of interesting stuff here to go over this week, but the first thing is a bit of a disappointment as we anticipated last week whenever Subaru revealed the teaser for a BRZ with an STI badge on it there, and what it ends up being is a US version of the BRZ TS that Japan has had for several years now, and we're just getting it here in the States now. And so it's just a handling package. There is no mechanical improvements as far as the engine goes for the BRZ TS. Same exact horsepower. And honestly, there's not a whole lot to differentiate this from that performance package BRZ that I just reviewed a couple of months ago, that just came out here for 2017. Because the highlights here for this BRZ TS here in the States is that it gets front and rear Sachs dampers, which the performance package already has. Now, these might be unique to the TS and be a little more aggressive, but still not a huge upgrade, I don't really think. It also includes coil springs and flexible V-braces in the engine compartment, which I thought there was already those V-braces from the factory ever since 2013, but anyway, they also say that for the first time they're offering the BRZ with 18-inch wheels, and they say that they're getting rid of also the Michelin tires that were super slidey, the Prius tires. They're finally ditching those here with this TS version for some really sticky brand new Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires, and they're 215 wide still, but 18s now. And they also, these TSs are going to have Brembo brakes, much like the BRZ performance package also does. And then it's obviously, this is a lot about the visual enhancements as well. There's a large carbon fiber rear wing that can be manually adjusted as well for different angles for your track setup. New front and rear diffusers, and there's the cherry blossom accents, which is the color there for the STI logo, and a bunch of STI logos all over the place as well. But the interesting thing is, both for this and the WRX STI, a special edition that I'm going to be talking about here, they only revealed like 2 additional pictures for each one. It's just like the teaser images we've already had, and then they just gave us like 1 more picture of the entire car, and that's all we have. So they also say they ditched the fog lamps on the BRZ, and so this TS version has STI fog light covers instead, but I can't show you that because they only revealed 1 picture in the press release, and it was the back end only. So we'll have to use our imaginations as to how that looks. It's not sure why they didn't give us more than 1 picture. Other things that they strangely didn't bother sending us photographs of are the new Recaro seats that are supposedly in this BRZ TS, and also there's red contrast stitching throughout the cabin, as you might have expected. But I'm interested to see if those Recaro seats are the same ones in like the STI or what it is that they're going to be putting in as far as Recaros go for the BRZ here. But anyway, interesting to see that. Now they said that the final specs on all these are going to be revealed later on this year, and the cars will start going on sale at the beginning of 2018. They're only making 500 of these, I believe, and so going to be rare. But again, I'm not sure who really wants a BRZ TS. Honestly, I mean, 500 might be a little too much. I mean, for how many people actually really want this, because we know, like I mentioned last week, everyone that hasn't bought a BRZ yet, it's because it either doesn't have enough power or there's some other holdup or they like another car better. But everyone that is interested in the BRZ, they either already have one or they're waiting for more power. And I don't think there's anyone that's like, I really love the BRZ, but I don't want to go to the aftermarket, put my own suspension, my own sticky tires, and my own spoiler on the back. I'm going to wait for Subaru to do that instead and charge $5 grand more for it, or however much the pricing will be. So it's like, I mean, everyone can do coilovers, better tires and brakes, and a front and rear lip and rear spoiler in the aftermarket for way cheaper. So what's the point of this car, honestly? Just my opinion, but just seems kind of unnecessary. But the better news here from Subaru is they also revealed the WRX STI Type RA. Again, only showing us 1 picture, this time of the front. So with all the other stuff I tell you about here, you're going to have to use your imagination once again. I apologize. So anyway, this RA version, it stands for record attempt. And that's because there's going to be a special race version of this Type RA that's going to be attempting a Nürburgring lap record later on this summer. Now, they say this Type RA, this production version, is going to be lighter thanks to various upgrades. How much lighter, we don't know. Again, final specs will be revealed later this year again, and these will also be going on sale at the beginning of 2018, and they're only making 500 of these as well. So, but as far as those lightweight things, those upgrades, there's going to be a carbon fiber roof, which we saw last week teased, carbon fiber rear spoiler. It's going to have lightweight BBS 19-inch forged alloy wheels that are going to have a 245 wide Yokohama Advanced Sport sports tires. They also ditched the spare tire, so you don't have one of those anymore to help with making it more lightweight. And then it does get a mild power bump from 305 horsepower to 310. 5 additional horsepower. Like I said last week, I'd be shocked if it was more than 5 horsepower, and like I predicted here, 5 extra horsepower. So that's thanks to a new cold air intake, a new exhaust, a retuned ECU, new pistons, which is actually probably the biggest improvement about the RA out of anything, and a revised third gear ratio and short shifter. So all those things, I mean, obviously the gearing stuff won't help with power, but new pistons, retuned ECU, cold air intake, and new exhaust all get you 5 extra horsepower. Again, I feel like it could be more than that. Maybe they underrated it, or maybe they need to have a discussion with Cobb about what a stage 1 tune can do for an STI, because it's a whole lot more than 5 horsepower. But anyway, that is what they have said here in the official press release. But again, those new pistons are a big deal, because that is one of the weak links here with the current motor and the STI, and so could make for a potentially better basis for additional modifications. Again, this is a rare limited edition model, so maybe you won't want to tear into one of these, but it does sound like it's a little more stout as far as the motor goes. Also, you get your standard array of cherry blossom accents on this one as well. Plenty of STI badges all over, and they also have new Recaro seats, they're saying, for the interior here on the Type RA. Again, what they look like is anyone's guess, and there's a plaque inside apparently that also shows which number out of 500 it's going to be. And so, yeah, but anyway, cool to see those. I am excited. I mean, I wish that the BRZ would have also gotten the carbon fiber roof like the Type RA STI does here, but still cool to see, especially that WRX. It sounds like a pretty nice upgrade. Who knows how much they'll cost, but anyway, cool to see those nonetheless, and hopefully Subaru's got some really heavy changes, with completely new models here of both the BRZ and the WRX and WRX STI coming in a few years. In the meantime, these will have to do. Another vehicle that will hopefully be coming pretty soon is the new Supra, which has been teased relentlessly forever here, and we got some new spy shots here this past week of the interior of the new Supra. And now, a while back, there was prototypes that had BMW interiors, and we're like, well, they'll probably change that, for production. Doesn't look like that's the case. Looks like it's going to use a BMW parts bin interior for the Supra. And the reason why we think this is closer to production now is because this car is getting closer to finally being revealed. And also, there is a Toyota badge hidden under tape on that steering wheel there. So they wouldn't be bothering to put Toyota badges on it if it wasn't getting worked on there on the interior. And so I think that, it's most likely going to have a lot of that BMW switchgear and stuff, which isn't really a bad thing, as, BMW switchgear is generally nicer than Toyota switchgear. And, since it's badged as a Toyota, they probably wouldn't want to put full-on Lexus stuff in it. So I think they're just kind of saving some money and using the same BMW stuff that the new Z4 is going to have. Whether or not this gets a manual like the new Z4 with at least its base motor remains to be seen. We still don't know what motor is even going to be powering this new Supra. Hopefully we'll find out more details here later on this year. And speaking about that Z4, which is the car that this is also, the same thing. The Z4 is the convertible, the Supra is the hardtop, and they're going to have obviously very different styling on the outside at least, but that's about it. But anyway, AutoGuide says that the Z4, they're saying it's going to be shown in production form at the Frankfurt Motor Show, which is in September. So if BMW gets a show theirs in September, then hopefully what the logical deduction is that if the BMW is ready to go by then the Supra should be close to being ready to go by then as well. And the Tokyo Motor Show is right at the end of October, so it could be a nice little follow-up, Z4, and then the very next month show the Supra, and that would kind of make sense. And so hopefully Tokyo Motor Show is where we'll see this new Supra here at the end of October. Maybe it'll be later, maybe it'll be Detroit, or sometime next year in New York, but hopefully they don't keep us waiting that long. But anyway, so interesting to see that. Another exciting piece of news here this week is Auto Express did an interview with Aston Martin CEO Andy Palmer, and he revealed some really good stuff. I love whenever these CEOs reveal all their juicy details just really nonchalantly. But anyway, he said they're planning a mid-engine supercar to go below the Valkyrie, which is the hypercar that they're going to be putting out here. And they say this new mid-engine supercar, they want it to be a competitor to the Ferrari 488. And it's going to launch in 2020, and it's going to be part of of a greater plan where they want to have a new model every year from now until 2023. So before, since now 2020 is this mid-engine supercar, before that they're going to do the rest of the DB11 variants, which is the convertible and probably a DB11S or Vanquish type deal. Once those come out, then this mid-engine supercar will come. They're also saying that they're also going to have the DBX crossover before they do this mid-engine supercar, and then after all that stuff, they're going to have the supercar, and then after the supercar, they said that the vehicles that'll take them into the 2020s are new Lagonda models, which are the ultra-luxurious ones, and also the DB12, which is going to be the last one. Will probably be coming in like 2023. So it sounds like DB11 won't have a super long life of, maybe 6 years tops, and then the DB12 is going to come right out. So very exciting to hear all those plans, and so can't wait to see them all. Next is some info on a couple new Porsches this past week. The first is Evo got a ride along in the brand new GT2 RS, which isn't officially revealed even yet. So they just got an early sneak peek of it here. And so they have some really good information, though, in their interviews with the developers here of the vehicles and whatnot. And anyway, this new GT2 RS, they say it's going to use a twin-turbo 3.8 liter flat six, similar to the one in the 911 Turbo S, the current gen, but it's going to be completely different. It's not just extra boost on a normal 911 Turbo S motor. They're saying, though, as far as power goes, it's going to have at least 641 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. And so the previous gen GT2 RS had 612 horsepower from a 3.6 liter. So now you got the 3.8, more boost, and you got extra horsepower there. So minimum 641. It's going to be pretty impressive. Porsche said they're going to be introducing a water injection system similar to the one that was on the M4 GTS, and that'll help them with greater efficiency and power. But yeah, they say it's going to be the Turbo S motor, but it's going to have all kinds of changes to it. It's going to have beefed up internals, larger turbos, and a titanium exhaust. Also, in typical GT2 RS fashion, it's going to be rear-wheel drive only, and they say they're only going to be using Porsche PDK. There's no manual is going to be available here for the GT2 RS, and that's, I think, because they said they want to be able to put down the power, and the best way to do that is with the PDK. Anyway, and they also said since this is an RS model, it's going to be lightweight. They're going to have all kinds of fancy aero and stuff to keep the weight down, and I guess extensive use of carbon fiber and things like that. They say they don't have a final curb weight yet, but they say the weight will be below 3,300 pounds here for this GT2 RS. So yeah, very, very impressive. Carbon ceramic brakes are going to be standard, they're saying, and they're saying that they're getting close to finishing the development on this vehicle, and that we could be seeing it as soon as sometime this summer, and who knows the pricing on these, but probably the safe bet is well over $200,000. But anyway, cool to see that. And then the other Porsche that was posted up here this week was this 911 Turbo S. It's called the Turbo S Exclusive Series. They're only making 500 of these things, and it's a little extravagant, I guess we can say. So it's the most powerful 911 Turbo S, first off, which is always a good thing. 27 more horsepower than a standard Turbo S, so now it's got a total of 607 horsepower. Torque is the same at 553, and it has the same top speed of 205. But it's mostly, aside from that, nice little boost in power. It's just a lot of blingy exterior and interior stuff. And so they have the Porsche exclusive turbo aero kit kind of package they put on these, with a rear wing, engine cover air scoop, and other aero bits that they have all over. And it's going to have options for exposed carbon fiber stripes on the hood and roof. It has custom wheels with golden yellow metallic accents, special badging, of course, and it can even be painted in golden yellow metallic. So you can basically have a gold 911 Turbo S. So it helps you to stand out there. The interior is the same deal. It's got the top of the line 18-way seats that have leather that's perforated to show yellow stripes from an additional layer of leather that's underneath that. So you can see basically gold underneath the perforated leather seats there. And there's all kinds of other special trim, gold carbon fiber, and all this kind of stuff. Badges let everyone know it's a rare limited edition model. They also come with a titanium chronograph watch and all kinds of stuff. Now, they haven't released pricing here for the United States, but it's going to be $250 260,000 euros. Now the exchange rates always throw things off, but if you were to do an even exchange rate, it would be about $100,000 more than a normal Turbo S. So obviously it's probably not going to be 100 grand more, but probably a good chunk of change over a standard Turbo S. So yeah, it's definitely for those that just want something better for whatever reason. I mean, a normal 911 Turbo S is still awesome, but anyway, cool to see that nonetheless. And an interesting development this past week, we've been hearing about this Hyundai i30N, which is a Europe-only hatch that we do get here over in the States as the Elantra GT, but it's a hot hatch version of that, the N division. I talked more about the N division last week and how they're not doing Genesis stuff now apparently, and just doing hot hatches and the like. Anyway, so this week the Hyundai Veloster was spied with what looks like N treatment, and so we've been seeing some revised Velosters running around in the past. I don't know if they're going to just be doing a standard refresh for them as well as this hot performance version or what, but it sounds like the reports are saying here that we're going to be getting, we're not getting the i30N, so the Elantra GT hatchback. They're not doing a hot version of that. Instead, they're going to give that same treatment to the Veloster here in the States, and so we'll have the Veloster N, and that's what we're going to be getting. And we might get other N models eventually, but for right now, it's just the Veloster N. The horsepower guesses are all over the place for this thing because, with the i30N, I think it's going to have upper 200s horsepower, but so the guesses, some people are saying it's going to be around 250 horsepower. Other reports are saying it's like 295. I'm not sure where exactly it's going to fall as far as horsepower goes and how they plan to position this, whether it's a GTI, WRX kind of competitor, or if it's like a Type R, Golf R, higher, Focus RS kind of competitor. I don't know. But, you can see it looks more aggressive. It's got a spoiler there on the back that it kind of looks like a Type R spoiler in a way and all that kind of stuff. And looks cool nonetheless, bigger wheels, all that stuff. But it's still, the question remains, whatever happened to the RM16, which was the mid-engine hatchback that was shown in concept form, and everyone was like, oh, it's a concept, it's a mid-engine hatch, it's never going to happen. And then it was actually spied testing on the Nürburgring for one lap, and it was spied driving around elsewhere, actually testing, and it looked like the concept car, still mid-engine, still with those flared rear fenders and whatnot. And I don't know where that's at or what the whole plan is with that. I don't know if that was only a race car or something that got scrapped, because the last time I think they said we saw that was in October or something. So I don't know, because that's definitely a different vehicle than what this is. So I still am holding out hope that what we're seeing here is the Veloster N. It's just like a GTI kind of competitor, 250 horsepower, Focus ST type deal, which would be great. And then an RM16 would be a mid-engine hot hatch with over 300 horsepower that would completely rewrite the hot hatch game here. As far as, obviously if it's mid-engine, it'll only probably be a two-seat vehicle versus the much more practical other hot hatches out there. But it'd be really sweet if they actually brought a mid-engine hot hatch to the States. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, interesting that thing kind of disappeared and fell off the map, because it looked pretty far along in its development. Anyway, another vehicle that was spied this past week was the Buick Regal GS. We believe this is a GS model because it's got the more aggressive bodywork going on. You can see under the camo there, it's going to have some larger air intakes and things like that. And another interesting tidbit about this vehicle is that it had brakes that had Cadillac badges on them. So maybe doing a little parts bin sharing, even though Cadillac seems to have been distancing themselves from the rest of GM. So I'm not sure if they're actually going to be using stuff from Cadillac or not. But at least this test car is. Now as far as the power, that's the thing that's kind of up in the air about what they would actually put under the hood of this GS, because the new base Regal Turbo makes as much power as the old GS did. So it's like, okay, well, what do? Do they just crank up the boost on that motor to give it more power, or do they use the standard GM V6? We know that the new Commodore, Holden Commodore, which this is going to be identical to, they're all this all-wheel drive / front-wheel drive, platform, and ditching the awesome Chevy SS, older Holden Commodore roots. And so anyway, the Commodore is going to be available with a 308 horsepower V6 and a 9-speed automatic transmission. If that sounds familiar, it's the same exact combo that you're going to be getting in the Buick LaCrosse, and any other GM vehicle with a V6 engine and an automatic. That's usually the combo they pair it up with. So it could be that, although that sounds a little mundane for a sporty GS version. So maybe they'd call it a Regal Sport or something instead. Maybe a GS would have a little more power, hopefully. So who knows what they would end up doing. But anyway, interesting to see that spied running around. Speaking of Buick, though, they actually made some updates to the 2018 LaCrosse. The first is that V6 model for 2018 comes with a new 9-speed automatic transmission. Sounds familiar. Obviously, the LaCrosse is bigger and a little bit cushier than the Regal, but still. Kind of interesting that's what they're using with the LaCrosse. Anyway, as far as the other changes of the LaCrosse for 2018, there's going to be a new base model that has a mild e-assist hybrid system, and they did this apparently on the previous gen LaCrosse and Regals, which I didn't actually realize. But it uses a small electric motor and a small battery pack that augment a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine, and they say that it helps makes takeoff smoother and provides additional torque on demand, in addition to powering the vehicle whenever it's in stop-start and all that kind of stuff. And anyway, the combined output for the whole power plant is 194 horsepower and 187 pound-feet of torque, and it helps it to get 25 miles per gallon in the city, 35 miles per gallon on the highway. And so that's going to be the new standard engine for all 2018 LaCrosses. And like I said, that V6 is still available as an option, but new base model motor with less horsepower means this is going to make the LaCrosse a little cheaper as a starting price. So the new 2018 LaCrosses are going to start at $31,415, which is about $1,500 less than it was last year. So nice, improvements there, and they'll be going on sale this fall. So cool to see that. Tesla has teased the Model Y for the first time this past week, which is going to be the smaller SUV, somewhat based on the Model 3, although Elon Musk was like, we got so much grief for how similar the X was to the S, and they said that they wish they would have actually built the Model X as a full-on SUV instead of a lifted, bulkier sedan. It's essentially what the Model X is. And so he says that they don't want the Model 3 and the Model Y here to repeat the same mistake and do the same thing. So they're going to hopefully differentiate it more from the Model 3 and won't share too much with it. But they said that anyway, regardless, these should be arriving by 2019. At least that's their hope. And it'll be built at a new factory since they say the current Fremont facility is at max capacity and they can't build anything else there. So they're just going to do this somewhere else. Where else? I don't know. They said they're going to give more info about the whole Model Y situation at the Tesla semi-truck reveal, which is going to be happening in September. And so we should find out some more stuff about the Model Y then. But anyway, cool to see that. Quick little thing here. The BMW M5 looks like it was leaked this past week in the Need for Speed Payback title card. So I guess like the game cover kind of deal. And you can just see it in the background there. And I'm sure there's some people at EA that are taking a lot of grief after that has leaked out, because I'm sure BMW did not want the new M5 front end getting out just yet, even though we basically know what it looks like just with camo on it. But we have a pretty good idea, and it's a BMW. They never really are super radical with how they look. But that's what it looks like, obviously, from the front end there. And, you can't see too much of it, but it looks exactly how you were probably expecting the new M5 to look. And so cool to see that. AutoGuide reported here this past week that Jaguar has just trademarked the XS name. Now, XS they're thinking it's going to be the replacement for the XJ. They said that there will be an XJ replacement that's going to be arriving in 2019. Now, whether they do rename it or this is another model remains to be seen, but it's a safe bet. Everyone's wanting to be like Mercedes and kind of have the same thing where you have the different models, I guess, make more sense. And so the S, I think, would be larger, even though XS means extra small. So it's kind of counterintuitive. But, I don't know what they're actually going to end up doing with that name. But interesting to see they trademarked that. Another large sedan that was spied, actually, was Bentley was spied testing the new Flying Spur sedan. And it's wearing the same fake headlights and stuff that you saw on the Continental GT that we still have yet to see a full reveal of as well. And who knows when we'll see both of these vehicles. Obviously, they're fairly similar as far as their platforms and developments and whatnot. So we might be seeing them maybe at the Geneva Motor Show. That would be my guess. Maybe the Frankfurt Motor Show at the earliest in September, maybe for the Continental GT with the Flying Spur debuting a little later, maybe at Geneva or something. But anyway, interesting to see that running around. And it's a little bit out of the ordinary story here, is there's an Audi A7 test car that caught on fire this past week and burned to the ground, which is pretty crazy to see, but this does actually happen from time to time. You usually see maybe 1 or 2 test mule fires every year, it seems, and so this one was, it's using the existing body, so we don't see anything new as far as what the new Audi A7 is going to look like, but they were using the current production body to test the towing, it looks like, for the new powertrain or whatever for the new A7, and apparently something didn't go very well because the fire started under the hood there and then spread to the rest of the vehicle, and they couldn't put it out, and so it burned to the ground, which is pretty crazy to see. And but yeah, new A7 I think is coming sometime next year, and so interesting to see that they were at least testing that for a while before it died. And then last few things here, some spy shots sent in by you guys. Again, I really appreciate here in the past few weeks, a lot of you guys have been sending me in your spy photos. Again, if you ever do see anything out and about and you can safely take a picture or video, definitely take it and send it over to me. All of my contacts in the description below, as far as emailing it to me or Instagram, Twitter, whatever works for you guys. But anyway, the first shot here was an SUV that was spied by the only Paytonian. He was in South Houston, Texas. And he said the vehicle had Montana plates, which is curious because usually test mules either have Michigan plates, New Jersey, or sometimes California, depending on where the company's based. I don't really know of any manufacturers based in Montana, but what this looks like to me, and again, feel free to leave your comments below as well as far as what you think this is, but to me it looks like the Jaguar E-Pace that was spied, which is supposed to be a smaller version of the F-Pace, not the electric version. That's the I-Pace. It could be either one though, just a smaller Jag SUV. It just looks like those Jag taillights, kind of like the F-Type there in the back for a brief second. We don't get too good of a look at the front there, so hard to really say for sure, but that's my best guess, and like I said, let me know yours in the comments below. So anyway, huge thanks to him for sending over those pictures. Now the next vehicle was spied, was sent in by Eddie, who was in Chicago and spied this large SUV running around, and what I believe this is the 2018 Buick Enclave, which we've already seen official pictures of, so I'm not sure why this one's camouflaged, but when you look at the pictures of the two, it definitely lines up, and I'm pretty sure that's what this is the 2018 Enclave. Why, it's still camouflaged, who knows, but I'm sure, they often do some final testing before the vehicles arrive, because I think the new Enclave isn't arriving until the fall, and so, they're doing probably some final adjustments there in city driving and stuff, and so anyway, cool to see that, and thanks to Eddie for sending that in. And then the last thing is a vehicle that actually wasn't camouflaged. It was just, Dan sent me in an email here, this Geely, which is a Chinese company, and so I think they're eventually going to be starting to try and bring cars over here to the States. I'm not sure what they're doing. I mean, again, this was, I think, an existing model that wasn't camouflaged, was just driving around, and it had Georgia plates, but it was on the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, California, and it was just cruising along there, a Chinese, Geely that should not be in the States, but it is for whatever reason, and so anyway, very interesting to see that, and huge thanks to him for sending those in. So that's it as far as all the spy shots. The last little tidbit I want to mention is that James May, on a radio interview this past week, announced that the Grand Tour is going to be returning in October, and so for any of you that enjoyed the Grand Tour as much as I did, that's great news. I can't wait for season 2 of the Grand Tour. There's already been a few pictures posted up of people that have been seeing them out filming new episodes here. Jeremy's in an Aventador S, and there's going to be all kinds of awesome stuff. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting for those of you that do enjoy the Grand Tour. Should be returning in October. But yes, that's it for all the news this week, guys. So thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care.